How y'all doing? Uh, Something new. Uh, don't know if it's something that I'll continue doing or just something I'm gonna try out. But just looking for different ways to interact and get our thoughts out there. Um, I think unfortunately nowadays it's real easy to let our opinions um, get in the way, unfortunately, of a good conversation. So it'll start out as a one-way conversation, just me, myself, and you, the listeners. But hopefully, eventually, once we get this thing rocking and rolling, we'll be able to, maybe do some call-ins or some live videos. We'll see what happens. It's a lot still up in the air as we get this thing rolling. But yeah, I think for right now, call it night chats. Um, so, get this thing rolling. Tonight, December 27th, 2024, 11 p.m. here. Um, I don't know, tonight, what are we going to talk about tonight? Uh, Christmas, the holidays. Hope you all had a good Christmas, good holiday. Um, I think the holidays can be stressful for a lot of us, and for a lot of us also kind of depressing. It's a joyful time for so many people, as it should be. As you know, as the same, it can be depressing for some. For those of us that have lost ones that we love. Um, I know for me personally, um, having lost my brother almost a year ago to the day, last January 6th, unexpectedly. Um, he's only 40 years old and had so much life left to live. And, so this Christmas, my family and I were definitely missing him. Wish he was here. Uh, and just sending out all our love. And, then of course my father, who passed away 5 years ago, again, unexpectedly. Um, it's a tough time. You go from such a big family, family of five, me, my mom, and dad, and of course my two brothers. Family of five, and now we're down to just me, my mom, and my younger brother. So holidays are definitely a challenging time, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people out there. So with that in mind, um, we're thinking of all you and sending our love and our prayers and um, hopefully the thoughts of your loved ones, the memories will help get you through these tough times. With that being said, like I said, it's also a very joyous time, and it should be a very joyous time for a lot of families getting together, um, getting to spend time with one another. I know it's so much going on nowadays in our lives that we don't get to see our loved ones as often as I'm sure a lot of us hope. Um, and hopefully the holidays. It's real easy to get caught up in our devices and all that stuff, but hopefully the holidays bring a little bit more um, communication amongst us and takes our faces out of those devices and away from those devices a little bit more, and we can share, with one another stories and just be around each other and share that love and that compassion, which it's very important today in today's society. Just it seems like negative energy and just a lot of anger and hate and prevails in today's society and in the world. And be nice to get back to just a time where maybe we can all, I don't know, coexist without trying to rip each other's heads off. It's just I'm guilty of it sometimes. The political arena. It's real easy to get caught up in that stuff and have very strong opinions one way or the other. But again, I think it's important just to keep in mind that um, we all have opinions, and they're all valuable opinions. They all, I'm sure, are for the best of intentions. And we just need to come together. We could take all those opinions, all those suggestions, all those ideas, put them all together, and I mean, that's the best way possible, I think, to get to a solution with anything is to put ideas together. No one is going to have the perfect um, way of looking at something. There's always different ways to look at things, and I think that's always important to keep that in mind. That you know, just because you feel strongly about something, or maybe you only look at something in one viewpoint. It's important to broaden our minds, and that only makes us smarter. The more we can take in, the more we can look at things objectively and look at things from different opinions, with different opinions, different viewpoints. Um, just it makes you more whole, and gives you a little bit more knowledge when it comes to any situation. So I think that's important. So rather than arguing, rather than fighting with one another, let's try to maybe just take a second, pause, and just listen. Take in, and then after listening, try to understand where they're coming from and why they feel that way, and then maybe explain why you feel a certain way, and then hopefully we can come together, because there needs to be a lot more of that, and a lot more willing to have mutual opinions and come together in a mutual fashion, rather than just this objectiveness and this hatred. That's going to get us nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Never has. Plenty of examples, societies with fighting and disruption, and it's been proven time and time again. Those societies fall. Uh, Chaos lead to chaos. Uh, you know, a society that's going to thrive, or a society that's going to last, is a society that full of love, a society that cares about one another, and brings each other up. Instead of bringing each other down, we should really worry more about bringing each other up. Because once again, when the whole is stronger, um, it just makes everyone that much stronger, better. So let's lift each other up. You're like I said, you may think you know it all, and you may think that your opinion is the only opinion or the only right answer. But I assure you, every situation, like I said, there's always different ways to look at things. So hopefully this holiday season, like I said, I hope we all kept that in mind, and um, going forward, that's something that we can all work on. Excuse me. All right, so moving on, let's see here. So we get the holidays, Christmas anyway. That you know, Speaking of the holidays with Christmas, we also still to come have New Year's coming up, which I think again is going to be another opportunity for learning lessons and for growth. Um, I don't know, this New Year's. I know going to be a lot of uh, taking in of beverages, and a lot of people out there just letting loose a little bit, and that's fine. It's always good, especially with the stresses, as mentioned, with all the stresses in the world and today's societies. I think letting loose and relieving that stress in a positive manner is always good. So, mingling amongst friends, enjoying their company, letting loose a little bit, lightening up the mood with some drinks, some alcoholic beverages. Definitely don't think is a bad thing. At the same time, I think we need to be careful and keep in mind that, which for a lot of us now, my age, 41 years old, a lot of us now are at the age where we've lived, we've learned. It's this is the holidays are the time where it's easy, um, to catch a DUI, or to even worse, to get in an accident or hurt yourself, because it's a common time. It's a time when the police are going to be out. They're going to be looking for people who have been drinking and driving. So why take that risk? It's if the excuse a lot of people have, well, I wasn't thinking, when I got in the vehicle to drive, I had been drinking, I didn't use my common sense. Well, the best way to avoid that is to use your common sense before you get inebriated and before maybe you go out. So, best way to avoid this is just to make plans prior to going out, prior to getting inebriated, um, and indulging, and make the plans as if you want to be considered a smart adult, act like a smart adult. And I'm not saying I'm perfect and I haven't made my mistakes. I have. As I mentioned, you live and you learn, and the older you get, hopefully you, at the very least, can pass on some wisdom. And some of the biggest biggest wisdom I can give you right now is you do not want to be celebrating your holidays in jail. It's not fun. And it's also not going to be fun if you end up in the ground and your family, unfortunately, is the ones left to suffer because of your poor decision making. Or worst case, imagine being alive and you putting someone else in the ground, and you having to live the rest of your life knowing that you took someone else's life because of just a one night, um, you know, chance to go out and have some fun. I guarantee you the rest of your life is not going to be very much fun. So let's use our heads, let's use our common sense. Let's go out, let's enjoy ourselves. And man, 2025, let that sink in for a little bit. 2025. To me, that is just a number that incomprehensible. Someone, you know, being born in 1983, and there's plenty of people out there older than me, so that were born before then. So I'm sure even they looking at this, but um, I thought by this time, I mean, I'm still young, 40, 41, but I thought by this time I wouldn't even be alive. A lot of us, I'm sure, growing up think, oh my gosh, I live to be 30 or 40. That's going to be so old. But in so many ways, I still feel young. Um, my body sometimes doesn't cooperate, doesn't feel the same, but mentally, definitely, definitely still young at mind, young at heart. Um, and I guess just, you know, um, man, time does fly though. Time flies by so fast. And as you get older, as the saying goes, time seems to fly by even quicker. That does seem to be the case because I can tell you right now, there is not enough time in a day to get everything that we need done. So, moving into the new year, 2025, there's going to be a lot of things coming up. A lot of life changing things, life altering things coming our way in 2025 and on. I can guarantee you that. Again, my opinion is not always going to be right and is not the only opinion out there. But my opinion, I can tell you now, just from my research, from my studies, from the things I've been looking into, I can tell you right now that our lives are going to be changed significantly to a point where the way we've lived up until this point are going to be times of the past. These times, just like the transformation, going from a cassette tape to a CD player to now, just these little tiny something tiny as far as a smartwatch or something that can play all your music. With that being the case, the change went step by step. It wasn't dramatic. And it didn't necessarily go one step to the next. With that being said, I the changes I believe that are coming are gonna be like, man, it's gonna be like going from um, a record, the old records, that they used to have. It's gonna be going from like a record to going to that little chip with nothing in between. Just imagine back then when that's all they had with the record players going to something that extreme. I think that's going to be what we're looking at going forward is going to be technological advances that are just going to blow our mind. We're now talking about quantum technologies. Anybody who's done any research into that, I'm definitely not smart enough to know everything about it, or to know the particulars. But at the same time, I know a little bit, and the little bit I do know is that it's basically magic. It's the things of myths that and fairy tales and magic that we've been led to believe that are not possible. Um, they're finding out that more of those things than not are definitely possible, and that we have capabilities that are available to us that have been hidden from us, been kept from us, that we are not allowed to achieve, that are holding us down. There's technology that's keeping us down, keeping our frequencies down. Um, we live in a world where frequency plays a huge part in reality. Our everyday realities comes with frequency, and when you really want to stop and think about it, that frequency leads into like simulation theory and things like that. But frequency is a huge part of things. Um, with frequency playing a huge part of things, um, they're finding out that um, you know you jump you jump a frequency, or go down a frequency, go up frequency, things change and change dramatically, and life and reality itself seems to change. And there's just there's so much that we do not perceive, and that we don't see, we don't feel, we don't experience, um, to what's really out there in reality. Think about it in this way, animals and what they can see and what they can perceive and what's around them, um, compared to what we see and what we, can feel and sense. We're just there's just so much more out there that we don't have the capability of, that I think we are capable of, if more people had the knowledge, and if maybe some of the technologies that have been introduced that I believe are intentional to suppress. I mean, they may come with benefits, and that may be what they're pushing on us, but I believe that there would be, maybe safer ways to introduce these technologies, but they choose not to because the outcome that they're looking for, we're never going to accept something that we know is bad or something that doesn't offer us any good. So therefore, in order to get these technologies introduced, it's going to be presented as something with benefit. It's going to be presented something that we're going to want. Um, but it's also going to have side effects, or limitations. And I think that's a lot of what is going on today. And a lot of these things are going to be, coming to the forefront, and a lot more people are going to be waking up to these things. I think our health, the is going to become more and more focused. It's going to be something that is going to come more to the forefront. Things that we can do to live a healthier life. It's just we've just been saturated with just so many things that are unhealthy, and we need to get back to nature and to just things that have gotten humans by for generations upon generations. A lot of these new technologies, they're just all they do is distract us and take us away from what we're truly capable of. They lead to temporary pleasures. Um, and for some, that may be, that want to live in a material world with temporary pleasures, and that may be their objective. That may be what they want. So be it. Um, Again, that's another thing. We need to be comfortable and okay with what people's wants and desires are, and they don't have to be the same as ours. Just again, coming to mutual understandings and um, co- uh, compromise. Um, just less fighting. We're all humans, and that's something that's so important. We are all humans, and we all struggle. Um, we all have good days, we all have bad days, and let's not contribute. to someone else's bad day. Let's try to make other people's days, a little bit better. And if you're having a bad day and someone else is having a bad day, um, you know, let's try to see that and maybe try to help get those people out of that mood. And we need more positivity. It's just too much negativity. Um, and again, I'm kind of all over the board, but this kind of was started out with talk about going into the new year in 2025, and it just um, really just makes me think of the future and the things that are coming our way. I always grew up knowing there was a God. I went to Sunday school as a child. I performed in plays and, the story of Jesus and all that stuff. Jesus and God were always something that I knew were real, something that I always believed in. I had friends I remember younger growing up that were atheists, quote unquote, or didn't believe. And that's fine, because I'll be honest with you, and I won't get off tangent here, but religion is, I think, just unfortunately another way to divide us. But with that being said, God, Jesus, totally believe in a God and a creator, something I've always believed in. And I definitely think that we are living in biblical times. Religion, like I just mentioned, I do think is a way to keep us divided. I think has just been something that was put here. You know, all these different regions of the world, kind of the same stories, but just altered a little bit, and that's probably just to keep us arguing about who's right and who's wrong. But the genesis of it is there is a creator, and um, I think we're going to find out that, I mean, as I've started to see, the times that they talk about in the Bible, um, man, awful lot of that stuff's coming true right now. Even just recently with Syria now, and it's scary. And then, again, back in elementary school, if I would have thought, UFOs or aliens, I'd be living a life that would possibly entertain seeing that come to fruition, or seeing it acknowledged that they're real, maybe their presence even being seen and known. Yeah, right. Um, and but I do think we're being visited. I think a lot of the activity in the skies over New Jersey and actually all across the United States right now, I think are a combination of things. I think, and I remember me personally, I was watching the day it all started over in England. Let's not forget when a metal orb, uh, flying and hovering with no sense of propulsion, just came down and a couple inches above the tarmac just floated. Again, using technology we have no idea about, and then shot back up the sky when it was approached and just hovered for the rest of the day and into the night, and then orbs and plasmas were seen. And this was all before the quote unquote drones started popping up everywhere. And then over here in the US, shortly after, you started seeing the same orbs and plasma. Some people have even seen these metal spheres. Um, and then you start to see the drone activity. So I think it's a combination of both. I think that there's definitely some technology that's being used, and things that we're seeing that aren't human. And I definitely think that caused, I think, some activity from the government, and um, without admitting what we're doing and why we have drones in the air, what we're looking for, quote unquote, the aliens, the other technology. They can't tell us why they have drones in the air, so that's why we're not hearing anything. But they're just not ready for disclosure. But it's coming, and it's coming soon. All you people think I'm crazy, aliens, it's because of the stigma. For the longest of time now, it's been the stigma of these little green men, from Mars, um, which some truth to, little men and maybe greenish in color, more gray in color, really, if you do your research. But, and coming from other planets and such, I think that's a possibility. Um, I more think it's a little bit more of a dimensional thing going on. But anyway, the stigma of, little green men and coming from Mars, and it gets a laugh out of somebody, or you're automatically listed as a conspiracy theorist. Um, which label me a conspiracy theorist any day of the week, because last name me a conspiracy, last time it was labeled conspiracy, it didn't come true. I mean, honestly. Um, and even the flat earth, I was never a flat earther, and I just can't get myself to wrap my head around it and actually say that the flat earth theory is true. But I can tell you there's a lot of things about the globe, the round ball earth, that just, man, they defy logic. Um, but I'm getting off again on a tangent here, but um yeah, I don't think the government wants to come out with full disclosure yet. I think we're moving towards that. There's been a couple appearances now in Congress that have been televised live, about aliens and about UFOs. And I think the importance with that is, I mean, for the last 100 years, we've been lied to and been told they're not real, they don't exist, cover up after cover up after cover up. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, as if there ain't enough shit going on in the world, chaos and fighting and this, that, and, a zombie for a president. Just so much going on in the world. They just throw the UFOs and the aliens into it in the middle of it. It's one thing as a distraction because something's going on they want to hide from. Um, you know, this all just started out of nowhere. Just, I mean, yeah, stuff was crazy, like I said. When hasn't it been, over the last few years? But they just throw in this, talk in Congress about aliens and UFOs. And, man, you got to be silly to think that they didn't start that conversation for a reason. And there's not a reason that it was televised and held live and it wasn't behind closed doors and kept hush hush. Um, they did this for a reason. Everything has a reason. They have a reason. They know that disclosure is coming, whether we like it or not. We've been visited for a long time now. And yeah, a lot of the stuff that's going on could be, government and stuff we don't know about. But back in 1946 with the quote unquote weather balloon, that was an alien. We were visited. That was technology that we did not have. And that was something, biologics were discovered, not in that crash, but there was actually a separate crash shortly thereafter, miles away. And that's where like four alien biologics were recorded. Anyway, we have been visited, and it's just undeniable. I mean, crazy, and there's a lot of people out there that admit that. Of course, we're not alone in the universe. We're just a speck, and the universe is so big. And well, yeah, So if you're willing to admit that, you know, other life out there is possible, what I'm saying shouldn't be a stretch. It's just, trust me, I know it's crazy that we may live our lifetime to see and to interact with these things. I can't believe it. It's crazy. It's taken up most of my time lately, as people around me may know. Um, but it's just, I don't know. It's like finding a new, and I don't say this because I think it does compare really, but I think it does have some value in comparison. It's like discovering a new brother that you never knew you had, and of course you'd be consumed with that. I mean, that would, so many emotions, so many things. I mean, it's like just never existed, and then poof, that they were there. Something that dramatically is going to affect your life. Um, that's what we're looking at. And I again, I'm not so sure that these aliens, quote unquote, these other biologics that I think we are on the verge of in 2025 of finding out are real, are very real, that have been here for a long time. Um, we just haven't been ready for it. If they, I don't think it's something that they want to be disruptive. I think if they wanted to be disruptive, they'd have raised hell by now. We definitely know they were real. They'd have made their president. I don't think that's what they want. I think they want it controlled. I don't think they want the chaos, and I think they want some sense of co-inhabiting. That's what they're trying for anyway. But there's a lot still to be discovered with that, and it may or may not have some religious tie-ins going back to that and biblical things. So I don't know. Times we're living in right now, I'm telling you, I promise you, mark my word, they are going to go down in the history books. These are going to be times that are going to change human evolution forever. And again, you can laugh, you can think all these things seem like hyperbole, but I'm sure the people living in the times back then thought that was all hyperbole too. But they probably didn't think that when they were swimming, watching Noah's Ark, swim, float past them or whatever may have you. These things have happened. If you believe in God, if you believe in the Bible, um, these fantastical things have happened in our past, and history has a way of repeating itself. And not only that, but if you believe in that Bible, it actually tells you what's coming. So, just I think awful coincidental that a lot of what it talks about, a lot of what it preaches, um, is a lot of what's going on around us right now. And you can believe in coincidences if you want to, but I myself I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't think it's a coincidence. So keep that in mind. Everyone keeps asking me that I talk to about this in my personal life. What am I going to do? So what? What does it matter? If it is coming. And like I keep trying to stress, yeah, it may be coming, it may not be anything you can do about it, but there is. And what is that? Well, you can value the time you have with your loved ones maybe a little bit more than you would in times that didn't have this biblical end prophecy to it. I don't know. If all the signs are pointing, to one thing, and it looks like, if we were told that a big wave was coming of the tsunami, it was going to be here in a month and was going to take out the whole United States. I would think that we may, value our loved ones and our time with them a little bit more than we would maybe not if we didn't know it was coming, with the hustle and bustle everyday life. So, what can you do? You can all be aware of what is possible and what is happening around us and what it could lead to. And just think, if you believe in God and therefore you believe in the Bible, and therefore these things are bound to happen at some point. It sounds crazy, I know, like I said, but what if, just what if you're living in the time where those things are going to happen? Um, I mean, that means that's what's ahead of us and that's what's coming. You keep checking off all these things, event after event after event that's supposed to lead to this, to this, to this, to this, and it keeps going, brick by brick by brick by brick. Pretty soon here, that house is built, and once it's done, it's done. So, once this is built and once, everything's built up to its culmination, I mean, it's too late then. And I think that's important too. We all need to find God. And, whatever your belief in God is and whatever your belief on religions is, I mentioned mine. I'm not real big on any religion. I just believe in a creator. And I do believe that, these times have been prophesized about and that things to come have been warned, have been told to us. If we just listen and we open up our ears and are willing to listen. So, going into the new year, again, let's just keep this all in mind. And I hope for everyone to have a safe new year. I hope you all had a good and a Merry Christmas with your families. And again, going into the new year, if you're still enjoying the time with your family, maybe try to enjoy that time a little bit more. With our future just so murky. I do think there's some good things possible. I don't want to make it all sound negative or things to be worried about. I think there's some things to be excited about too, and some great potentials for humans going forward. And I think there's going to be some great things achieved and um, some truths that are known that are going to lead to humans realizing they're capable of so much more. Um, and I think it's going to be important that we come together. That's the part that I'm a little weary about. I'm hopeful, but I am weary. I'm not going to lie. History, if it repeats itself, it's just so many civilizations have crumbled due to their stubbornness and their unwillingness to see the big picture. We're all the same. We're all humans. We try to so much over our history, we've been divided and so many things used as divisive ways to keep us apart. Um, Screw all that. we need to come together and we need to learn to love each other, because one thing remains true throughout it all. No matter what color your skin is, no matter where you live, no matter what God you believe in, you are human. You are human. So we all have that in common. And if we're all human, and if we're facing, maybe meeting this long lost brother we never knew we had, and maybe that long lost brother is going to be weird, extremely weird, and extremely, more different than we are. Uh, we ought to learn to come together in our only family unit and accept our own uniqueness in our family, if we're ever going to accept someone with, it's going to be so much different than us. So I think that's going to be important. Coming together as one, realizing we are all humans and we share that in common, and that is so important. Once we stop fighting one another, maybe we can get to know, you know, other family members or other part of our true truth and reality. We can expand our minds, but I think in order to do that, we need to expand our hearts. So let's all try to do a little bit more of that going into the new year. I'm going to end it right there for my first talk, for my first night chat. This is something I'm going to try to do going forward more often. I just got a lot going on inside and in my mind that I'd love to get out there. And like I said, I'd love to hear some feedback. And soon here, let's see if maybe we can't open this up to doing some live feeds and some things like that. So we'll see where it leads us. But hopefully you guys, enjoyed, and you found some of this stuff, interesting at the least, or whatnot. But sending my love out to you all, sending my prayers, one love, one love to all, and one love to all you, and good night.